The VYRN collective prided itself on being the pinnacle of scientific advancement in the galaxy. For millennia, they had studied countless species, mapping their biology, cataloging weaknesses, and identifying strengths. The data always reinforced the same conclusion. Most sapients were fragile, compliant, and easily broken with the right pressure. When scouts finally discovered a remote planet labeled Earth, the collective saw an opportunity. The species there, humans, appeared primitive, emotionally unstable, and self-destructive. Perfect candidates for controlled experiments. The VYRN didn't want to conquer them. No, their ambitions were subtler. They wanted to test a theory that stress and manipulation could unlock latent evolutionary potential. They believed humans might be useful if they could be reshaped. What they didn't realize was that Earth wasn't just another planet. It was a death world, forged in violence, chaos, and survival. And humanity wasn't waiting to be reshaped. The experiment begins. Hundreds of humans were quietly abducted, transported aboard sterile research stations orbiting distant suns. The VYRN subjected them to trials, gravity extremes, sensory overloads, chemical cocktails. They measured everything: bone density, muscle tear, neural response, pain thresholds. At first, the results looked predictable. Humans suffered. They screamed. Many collapsed. But then something unexpected happened. Instead of breaking, the subjects adapted. Their muscle fibers regrew stronger, denser than before. Neural scans showed strange spikes of activity, creative leaps the VYRN's instruments struggled to model. Where other species would have withered, humans grew sharper, faster, and unervingly resistant. One VYRN scientist whispered the word that would later haunt the collective. They're evolving, inside the experiment. Cracks in control. A young human named Maya Ortiz was among the abductees. She had been a university student, ordinary by any standard. But after weeks of forced trials, she began noticing changes. Her reflexes sharpened beyond reason. She could anticipate the exact moment a VYRN guard's claws would twitch, or when a security door's lock would cycle. Another subject, David O'Connell, discovered he could withstand toxins that had killed other test species outright. His body neutralized them like water through stone. And then there was Amir Hassan, who had never been particularly strong. Yet, under extreme gravity, he adapted until his frame carried weight that would crush an armored alien. The VYRN thought they were still in control. They failed to see that every cycle of testing forged their prisoners into something more. The turning point. One night cycle, the captives acted. Maya led them through ventilation shafts, timing their escape to the second. David hacked crude tools from alien instruments. Amir forced open a bulkhead door that should have required mechanized assistance. The VYRN guards were unprepared. Their weapons fired, but humans didn't scatter in terror like other test species. They surged forward. Improvised blades met claws. Stolen rifles spat fire. When the dust settled, the research wing was in ruins. 100 humans stood where once there had been specimens. Their eyes gleamed with something the VYRN had never quantified. Defiance sharpened into power. A death world reminder. Word of the uprising spread through the station. VYRN overseers debated frantically. They cannot survive outside controlled conditions, one insisted. But when strike teams arrived, they found ambushes waiting. The humans had turned the sterile corridors into kill zones. Vent shafts became traps. Medical labs transformed into poison factories. The collective had studied evolution in the long sweep of millennia. They had never imagined evolution compressed into days, driven by sheer human will. Worse, humans laughed while they fought. Jokes spread among them like wildfire. Where the VYRN expected despair, they found camaraderie and courage. The escape. With stolen ships, the humans launched a desperate breakout. Alarms blared as docking bays erupted into chaos. VYRN cruisers pursued, confident that fragile primates couldn't outmaneuver them. But the humans had studied their captors just as the captors had studied them. David rerouted alien systems mid-flight. Maya anticipated pursuit patterns like she'd flown them all her life. Amir, straining against controls, held their ship steady under crushing acceleration. The impossible became reality. The prisoners escaped into the void. Galactic shock. When news spread of the disaster, the VYRN tried to bury it. But rumors spread faster than censorship. Other empires listened, horrified. The whispers grew. The humans are different. The experiments didn't break them. They made them stronger. What kind of world breeds such creatures? Scholars re-examined old files. Earth's designation resurfaced. Class 12 Deathworld. A place where survival meant thriving under constant hostility. The collective hadn't unlocked new abilities in humans. They had simply stripped away the restraints. Humanity's so-called superpowers were never latent. They had always been there, waiting for enough pressure to force them out. Return to Earth. Months later, the survivors crash-landed back on Earth. Families embraced them, unaware of what their loved ones had endured, or what they had become. Maya stood on a hill overlooking her city. She felt every sound, every flicker of movement as if her senses were tuned beyond human limits. David found himself immune to illnesses that once plagued him. Amir's strength no longer waned even under crushing exertion. They weren't the same. None of them were. And the VYRN collective? They now faced a problem greater than any failed experiment. By tampering with Deathworlders, they had accelerated something unstoppable. Humanity was awake. Epilogue. In a council chamber light years away, a VYRN elder hissed to his peers. We tried to reshape them. Instead, they reshaped themselves. If this Earth species learns to wield what we unleashed. He trailed off, trembling. Another elder finished the thought. Then the galaxy will learn why you never experiment on Deathworlders. On Earth, the survivors trained quietly, not as broken victims, but as pioneers of what their kind could become. The alien experiment had ended, but humanity's rise had only just begun.